I had all the reasons and justifications to join a terrorist group for what has happened to me. But what did change my life is the right teaching. Thank you, Uncle.
What was your reaction?
So we were shocked and panicked, and one after the other when we heard, then only we realized, this is something more serious than what we were thinking. And this has nothing to do with, Buddhists trying to react to the Christians.
Yeah. I heard that there was an input by the Indian intelligence which very clearly warned the government here that suicide attack was being planned against the Christians here, and it also had phone numbers of the potential bombers.
It's seen there had been a serious breakdown in the communication of the entire security system. And today the common people have paid the price for it.
Right. Now, you have also seen what the atmosphere was like during the Civil War, and also around the end of the Civil War, which was also a very tense time for the country.
Yes.
So, do you find any similarities?
I know the fear among the people is, I would say, is double than the fear that people used to have during the Civil War time, because the nature of this terror attacks shook the country, because during the Civil War you could at least predict the targets, or you could at least predict where the attackers are coming from. But right now, in this situation, it's very unpredictable. Even the targets could be anyone. So you could see, I have never seen Colombo City like this, even at the height of the Civil War.
Really?
This
meaning thin traffic, or the presence
traffic
of police?
with such a huge presence of police and military.
So otherwise, like the relations between Christians and Muslims have been fine.
Yeah, we have never had issues with the Muslims in this country, as far as I remember. I recollect the history.
So you work with the Evangelical Alliance.
Yes, and right now I handle the Relief and Development Unit of the Evangelical Alliance.
Yeah. And you are politically also active.
Yes, I was formerly the spokesperson for the opposition leader in Parliament.
Oh wow! That was until when?
Until last year, October.
And what's the name of the opposition leader?
He was Mr. Sambandhan, was from the main Tamil political party of the Tamil National Alliance.
Okay. Bodhi Bala Sena.
Yes.
Which has been speaking against Muslims and Christians.
Yes.
And it has also launched several attacks.
Yes.
So what are they saying right now? Are they saying that, look, we told you that Muslims are bad, we should drive them out of the country, and now you face the consequences, the narrative that they often use?
Yeah, but surprisingly, at this point, they are keeping quiet. They have not come out with any statement of that nature, because about these extremist groups, even the Muslim community, they themselves have complained to the intelligence units well ahead, years ago. So this is the church.
So how many people were killed in this church?
I think it's over 50.
You have experienced extreme hate and extreme love. First, let's talk about the extreme hate. What really happened?
I was born in the eastern coast of Sri Lanka, in Trincomalee district. So in the early 90s, due to the civil war, I was very young, maybe around 4.5, 5. I've lost my father, or rather my father was killed, which led to me ending up in an orphanage where I grew up for about 8-9 years, because my mother was illiterate and she couldn't, she was just working as housemaids in different places, and that's how she earned her income. Then to cut a long story short, in the year 2000, my brother was again killed or burnt alive along with another 20 odd Tamil young people in the upcountry of Sri Lanka. And
so are we talking about the military here, or
my father was killed by the military? That's the news we have so far, because we never been able to get his body or was able to have a funeral for him. So up to now, what we know is that he was killed. And my brother, again, we couldn't identify his body because it's burnt. So for about 3 years it was there in the mortuary, and finally ICRC had to do a mass funeral, and no justice was done to the perpetrators in that sense. So that's been the history of this country for many years.
And what about the extreme love that followed?
See, when my orphanage, due to various reasons, when they closed it down, my mother was working as a maid at one of these police officers' house. Then he was, I think, assistant superintendent of police. So then my mother had, no choice. She was wondering what to do with me, and she was afraid on one side to send me back to my hometown, because still the war was going on, and for young people it's not safe to be there and all that. So then this police officer, who happened to be a single Buddhist, told my mother to bring me, and that that he would shelter both of us in his home. So I ended up living in his home ever since 1998 till 2009.
And you were a Christian
I was a Christian
at the time also, and
yes.
he had no problems with that.
He had no problems with that. Interestingly, even to send my mother to church, he would always give his car and the driver, and he used to drop us and pick us from the church. So.
Now, as someone who has seen love and hate, how do you make sense of what has happened here, these attacks?
The religions, the teachings plays a huge role in people's, especially the young ones, how they are shaped in their lives. See, for an example, I had all the reasons and justifications to join a terrorist group for what has happened to me. But what did change my life is the right teaching that I got from the church or from my faith, that directed me. No, revenge is not the pathway. Revenge and hatred is not the pathway.